Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang back at it with another video. So, this is another week where we analyze the games from the Friday Simul. So, let us get started. This one is against Fupalicious, you guessed it. So, let's begin. E4, D5. So, this is what we call the Scandi or the Scandinavian, where in exchange for the pawn taking the pawn, the queen can get activated early, or if black prefers, the knight can come out and the knight can go for the pawn. It's a decent opening. It's not as bad as it seems, but if you're in a winning, right, if you're in a situation to win the game, I would not suggest you use this opening as black to win the game because at times it can be very dangerous for black. But also, if this is a opening that you want to, for example, take it slow or maybe try something different, this would be a good opening to sort of try out and experiment as you please. So in the game, Fupalicious played queen takes d5, knight c3, and the move queen d8 occurred. Now, the main line here really stems from a few moves. One, queen a5, most common. So after queen a5, d4, something like knight f6, knight f3, and then something like bishop g4, knight c6, queen back to c7. It's okay for black. The other alternative is the move queen d6 with the idea that, knight f5, knight f6, pardon me, knight f6, a6, I don't know. Some people play e5, some people play g6 and bishop g7, but there's always people play queen d6 instead of the move queen d8 because you brought the queen out, right? And you don't want to bring it all the way back despite bringing it out, because if you bring it all the way back, think about it as like you gave this knight a free move to develop. And if you think about it, if the knight gets a free move to develop, then that means white gets to place another piece out. And so, essentially, if you want to keep the queen developed, I would suggest either queen d6 or queen a5. And in this way, you sort of, you have the queen out. Basically, you want to place it where it is right now. Sure, you can. But if you want to do additional things, like you want to bring the bishop out this way, you want to bring the knight out this way, you'll notice that the queen is not here, but it's here, right? It's on d6, and you can bring your bishop out, bring your knight out, and castle queenside as you please. So to me, this move is just shows a bit more in that you've developed your queen to a certain spot. You've gotten your objective, which was to bring the queen out. And I feel like that queen d8 is a little bit, giving white the chance to develop further. So after bishop c4, knight f6, I play the move knight f3, maybe hinting at the move knight e5, and here Fupalicious played a6, with the intention likely to play b5, bishop b7, c5, something like that. Now at this point I briefly considered the move knight e5. However, after e6, then I thought, okay, after d4, black's going to play c5, and I don't have much here. So ultimately I felt like just this one threat would lead to a little bit of a dead end. So instead, I played the move a4. This is a prophylactic move because number one, I am preventing the move b5 from happening, and I am also giving my bishop some space to keep an eye on this diagonal. And so here, Fupalicious enters a sort of tactical mistake. Now, at this point, there are two ways to proceed. One, I could play knight e5, right? And you might think, okay, you're hanging your queen, but after bishop takes d1, bishop takes f7 is checkmate. So black can't allow that. Black has to go back to e6. Bishop takes e6, f takes e6, and the move queen f3 appears on the board, attacking the pawn on b7, and this pawn structure is not desirable for black, right? Black has to play g6, bishop g7, but by then, white can already think about the moves g4, g5, and put pressure on f7. So there are already very concrete positional problems for black in this position. However, I went with a different approach. I went with one that just wins material, isn't as positional as this previous variation I presented, but I went with the move bishop takes f7. Same idea, but in a different order. So after king takes f7, knight e5, king e8, knight takes g4. So I basically won the f7 pawn. I got an extra pawn, and I got the king to move. So two bonuses, and after knight c6, I castled, thinking that I could obviously get this bishop out, but I'm going to castle first. After queen d6, I played knight takes f6, and the reason I played this was because if queen takes, I just play d3, and then maybe I play knight d5 later. But I was looking at whether, black wanted to capture with one of the pawns. So after g takes f6, I would play the move queen h5. But after the move e takes f6, I could play the move rook e1 and put pressure maybe on the king. So after e takes f6, rook e1, bishop e7, knight e4, queen d5, and I play the tricky move queen f3. Now here's my purpose. My purpose is very tactical, setting up this discovery and planning to play knight takes f6 with check and discovering the queen. So Fupalicious sees that and places the queen on e6. Now on first sight, this looks okay, right? It looks good. There's not much problem with it. However, I think this is a little bit of an inaccuracy. Now here's why. And it might be a little bit obvious, but you are placing the queen on the line of doom. And to put more pieces on this line of doom, is both a good and a bad thing. Now here is the good thing to why you put the queen on e6. The reason why is you keep your pressure on e1. Note the rook is undefended right now. So black could be threatening the move f5. However, if white plays a move like rook e3, you'll notice that, okay, the rook is defended now, and the queen now just looks on the wrong file. It's on the same file as danger is. And so, for one, I could also play queen d1 here to protect the rook. That would have been also a really good move. But I preferred to keep my queen on f3. So I played rook e3, And after knight e5, which was putting more pieces on the line of doom, queen e2 happened. And here I threaten the moves f4 and I threaten the moves d4, right? I want to kick this knight off the file so I can put pressure on the bishop and the queen. So after knight g4, I play a tactical move. And in fact, the computer has spotted a much better move for me that I obviously missed because I was too engulfed in the tactical shot. But I played the move knight takes f6. Now here the computer suggests the move knight c5, which is really powerful because say you want to, okay, so think about it this way, right? The queen has two things the queen needs to guard. One, the bishop. The rook is putting pressure on the bishop. But number two, the queen is attacking the knight. So by playing the knight here, black is overloaded. The queen is overloaded. So that would have been a better move. But instead, I played the move knight takes f6. Now, here's why this works. The reason why is because right now we are threatening the queen right now. Right now there's also check, and the only way to prevent losing the queen is by moving the queen out of danger. And after that, I play queen takes knight, and after rook f8, I bring my queen back to e2, continue to put the pressure. I now start to think about, okay, c3, d4, bishop d2, rook e1, something like that. Bring my other pieces out. And after king f7, this really helped my job, or it made my job much easier. With the move rook f3, just simply pinning the queen and the king. And after queen takes f3, queen takes, king g8, I get some pawns to be a little greedy. And after the move rook a e8, the move d4 finally comes out, intending to get the bishop out. And after bishop f6, bishop e3, rook f7, and queen takes a6, and here I just decide, you know what? So first of all, the rooks want to come down, right? So what's the most active way to try to prevent the back rank, but also try to create a threat at the same time? And that move was g4. I'm threatening g5 to trap the bishop, but I'm also creating space for my king. And here was where our Fupalicious resigned. So why did I win this game? Well, first of all, the first move, very small difference here, but the move queen d8 gave me two free developing moves, right? So for example, surely queen a5 could achieve the same result, but what I essentially mean by development in this case is you get your pieces off of your original square and you move them somewhere with purpose. So essentially, the queen moving here would, in the future, try to develop some pressure on the knight and the king. But in addition to that, the bishop g4, it gave me possibilities of knight a5. It gave me the takes f7 opportunities. And after that, you'll notice that the pressure on this e-file was the main point to how I won. And I guess putting these pieces on the same file didn't exactly help the cause. So, especially with this final mistake, I'd call it a very interesting game. So, thank you, and I'll see you next time.